Season 1, episode 11. Garrett, you ready to go?
Let's do it.
All right, fire it up, Cam. Let's hit it. Episode 11, Garrett Camp, along with Brian Bolt here on the blind. Garrett, how you feeling today, buddy?
Feeling good, man. Glad to be doing the show again. It's just me and you tonight.
That's right. It's just going to be us. So if you're tuning in, we really appreciate you tuning in right here on the blind. And if you're tuning in either on Facebook, YouTube, or Spotify or Apple Podcast, we appreciate you for watching or listening each and every week. If you are listening or watching on one of those platforms and you're not following us on the other, make sure you go over and check us out. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, TikTok, and both Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And Garrett is the TikTok master.
I don't know about that. I post every now and then, but I wouldn't say I'm a master by any means.
I can see your wife is tuning in. I appreciate her watching. You know, my wife, she's not tuning in, so we appreciate Andrea for tuning in there.
She says that's a big deal.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's quite a big deal, but look, let's hop into this thing. We appreciate all of our sponsors here on the blind. Without them, we couldn't make this happen. Alpha Innovations, Designated Puller, Perfect Limit Outdoors, of course, Shin Gear, Stratton Seed Company, Apex Ammunition, and of course, we come to you from the Lyle Real Estate Studio each and every week, and then the official coffee of the blind, Dirty Duck Coffee. So we appreciate all of those sponsors. Garrett's got a little. You got anything in that cup? You got anything in the cup?
I'm fresh out.
Something fell out of there. Yeah,
I've
got my tea over here, but no coffee today. Can't drink it this early, or I'll be up all night.
I heard that. Well, let's get into it a little bit. So one of the things we wanted to hit on, and I guess you kind of put that out there, something we were going to talk about, was this new Chene knee boot.
Yeah, Garrett,
So
he wants to jump off in it right away. Right away. Let me grab my boot.
I'm fired up.
So I actually brought one of my boots in. I know you can't see it very well, but I'm gonna hold it up. So the new Chene Scout Boot. And I know
what did I say? Did I say knee boot?
I don't know what you said. I wasn't listening to it.
Ankle boot.
Yeah. So Scout Boot.
Oh, okay.
It's for you to go scouting in. So let's talk about this thing. You and I have known that this was coming for a little while. Yeah. And we have been excited about it. And then for me, at least, when it got here, I feel like it came out better than what I expected. Not that I expected anything less, but I love it.
Oh, I do too. I feel like it's something, we talked about. We just use it all the time, whether I'm going out to feed the dogs or going to work a dog or putting them on after I take my waders off or it's raining outside and I don't want to get my feet wet. I mean, I just feel like it's something that I'll use throughout the whole year.
Yeah, exactly. And so they come in two different colors. Garrett got the olive green and I got the brown. They just come in those two colors, but who needs more? But I mean, what were your first? You put it on for the first time.
It ain't about the colors for me. It's about the comfort.
Well, tell us. You put it on for the first time. What'd you think? Exactly what you thought as soon as it hit your foot.
Exactly what I thought. I thought they were really comfortable. First off, I thought they were very easy to get on and off, which is nice for something like that. But then the other thing that I noticed is even though they're really easy to get on and off, they didn't slide around on my foot a lot.
Yeah, so they've got, I'm going to show it again on here, but they've got the rubber here and then this neoprene type, stuff up here around your ankle. So it makes it real comfortable, but they're just tight enough around the ankle to keep them from moving around. But they're not so tight that it's uncomfortable. That's the
No,
problem
they're
that I
not.
have. I don't like stuff rubbing on my ankle, uh, and these don't.
Yeah, there's nothing uncomfortable I've had about them, which we've only had them for a week, so time will tell. That's one of the things when I think Brian posted on Facebook a picture of his,
Yeah.
and there's all these haters. All the haters come out of the woodworks.
Well, I mean,
Let's see how long they'll last. Let's see if they
yeah.
hold up for a
I mean, I
year.
just got them in. Come on. I mean, I get the boot. I'm excited about them because we've known they were coming for a year. And we've been worrying Shin to death about, hey, when are these boots coming? Can you get us some? We want some. And we waited around on them. They came out. I put mine on. I was excited. I wanted people to know how excited I was. I put a post out on the Shin
Excited were you?
forum.
I'd like to know how excited you
I
were.
was really excited. I was really
Did
excited.
you sleep in them?
I did not sleep in them, but I wore them up until I went to bed.
Okay.
And but like you said, the comfort. Okay, let's just start with that. The insole. You don't have to put a Dr. Scholl's or anything else in it. I mean, you slide your foot in those things, and it's just as comfortable as an aftermarket insole. You know what I mean? Some boots are just not comfortable, and you have to put an insole in them.
Yeah,
And I
Dr.
know,
Scholl's, huh?
is
How
that
old
what
are
it
you
is?
now?
Is that
You
what it
wearing
is?
Dr. Scholl's?
No, I'm just saying that's the only name brand of an insole
No,
I
I
know
got you.
because I see
I
the
got you.
commercials on TV.
Okay. All right.
Come on, man.
Yeah, I feel
Killing
like
me.
yeah, that's one of the things I think with the Shin Wader too that really stuck out to me was the comfort of the boot. And
Yeah.
then we got the knee boot, and now we got the ankle, and every one of them all the way across same level of comfort.
Yeah.
That's the main thing I would say at this point. Everything else that we've had from Shin has held up, and so to all the haters that are worried about them not holding up, time will tell. But so far, Shin's been true to their word, and everything they've had has been top notch. So I wouldn't expect anything less from the ankle boot.
Yeah, and I mean, when you look at it, I mean, you can tell when stuff is cheaply made. You can
Right.
look at stuff and you could tell the seams on these boots are good. I mean, the it looks like a well-made boot. It really
Yeah.
does. I mean, from the sole to and I mean, of course, there's going to be people who have a problem here or there, and they're going to complain about it. But I mean, it looks and feels like a well-made boot.
It does.
I'm
It does. I
excited to
think
wear
it's
them. I've wore mine around the house, like you said. I've went out and fed dogs in them. Hadn't done just a ton in them. I've only had them a week, but went out and worked my dog yesterday in them and loved them. So I can't wait to wear them to the duck club. It's
yeah. I
one of
feel like
those things.
during right now. I mean, I'll wear them all the time, but come duck season, I don't know if I'll take them off.
Yeah.
Other than to put my waders on. Other than that, I'll probably have those on.
Well, even going out filling feeders up, or it's, let's say, during duck season.
Fishing around the ponds.
During duck season, we always have shoes. A pair of Crocs, or this or that you get up early in the morning. You're either going to go out and get in your truck, or you're going to go out and throw your waders on. And a lot of times you just slide on something that's easy. Now you've got these, because the problem you do run into, and I know you have as well as I, you slide those Crocs on and they're comfortable, but then you get out and you may get your foot wet, or you may get muddy, or you may this, or you may that. Well, now you've got a very comfortable boot. And before we move on, the inside of them has this neoprene lining. So the neoprene that's here, that's all the way through the boot. So it makes it to where they slide on very easily, on and off. So that material is slick, not slick enough that your foot's going to slide, but it's slick
Right.
enough that when you have a sock on, it slides in and out real easily. And I've actually worn mine without socks a couple of days ago. I slid mine on without a sock on. I don't make a habit to wear shoes that way, but I did, and went outside to put the trash out.
I
But
wouldn't do that too much because those things are going to be stinking if you
well,
do
my
that a
feet don't
lot.
stink. Yours do. You're a
I don't know
sweater.
about
You
that.
you sweat a lot.
Whatever.
But well, look, let's change gears just a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's talk turkey season.
Okay.
Turkey season. I know you can't see our background on our show right now, but we've got a turkey background. There's a guy behind Garrett that's got a turkey over his shoulder,
But
and
it's not me.
I will just spill the beans. It was not one of us.
No.
So
No,
let's
we
talk about that.
well, what do you want to talk about? I told him last week how we didn't kill anything. Um,
It was a
it's just
tough
been a
season.
tough season. Yeah, I've actually since last week I've talked to a couple of local turkey hunters and guys that really get after it. I mean, they're not. I get the opportunity to hunt on the weekend a little bit. These guys hunt every day, and they kind of had the same experience, same struggles. One of them didn't kill anything. One of them killed one bird, so neither one of them killed their limit for Arkansas, and very few birds gobbling. For whatever reason, this year has just been an unusually tough season. Turkeys are always hard to kill. It's always tough, but I don't know. There was something in the water this year.
Yeah, it was, and which of course I've said on here before, but unless you've watched other episodes, you don't really know. But I'm not. I didn't grow up the turkey hunter. I'm not. I don't claim to be a turkey hunter. I have turkey hunted the last 2 or 3 years with Garrett because he has enjoyed it so much, and he has told me how much of a thrill it is, and I just didn't believe it. So I had to see it for myself, and I
I still, I
I,
still, I,
I enjoy it, but
until it
you
happens
know,
though, until we get a
right?
bird fired up and he comes running into you, I don't know if you'll feel the way I do about turkey hunting.
Yeah, and I believe that. I really do because we've heard a couple and seen a couple while I was hunting with you, and it was an adrenaline rush. But until I have one come up and strut right in front of me, and I get to pull the trigger, um,
And
I,
hopefully
I
hit
just don't know.
something.
I just don't know if the hype is where it's at. But there's so many people that do it and say that the hype is real. It must be. It must be.
I think it's similar in some ways to duck hunting in that, you know, when you're duck hunting and you're calling to a bird and you see that bird respond to you and come into your decoys, it's kind of a similar thrill whenever you get a turkey, but it's a little more difficult, I would say.
Yeah,
You're not
and
killing six turkeys at a time. You're lucky
yeah,
to get one every couple of years. So
and we we heard some,
yeah,
especially what was it, opening day or when I mean we
yeah,
were on two at one time, and just couldn't make it happen.
yeah.
So
And then we took a little trip, went up in the Costat Mountains, me and some buddies, and went to the middle of nowhere thinking we were going to get away from all the hunters and we were going to kill, all of us were going to kill all the limits of turkeys.
all the turkeys.
And we hunted for 3 days, heard one turkey, and the one we heard got shot within 5 minutes by another hunter.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, look, speaking of turkeys, I didn't really plan this, but I'm turkeyed out. I don't know if you can see my shirt or not.
Oh yeah, you got your
I
Mr.
got
Fox
my
on.
Mister Fox shirt on, which that's a cool story as well that we may get into for another time. But I got my Mister Fox shirt on, and then I've got this hat on. So let's mention this hat for just a second. I just got this hat in, very comfortable hat, and Mason Norman sent me this hat with Chaos Outdoors.
Okay.
And so it's I don't know if you can see it or not, but it says Chaos Outdoors, and it's got turkey track on it, and pretty cool hat.
I would
Pretty
have
cool
to
hat.
guess that they're pretty big turkey hunters
Yeah,
then.
yeah, and they've got some that have different stuff on them, and I saw this one and thought, man, you know what? Out of all the stuff I've got, I don't have a hat with a turkey track on it.
Only
So
thing that make it look better if it was sitting right here.
yeah, well, you'd have to come out a couple more notches on the back of it for that big
this
old head, but other than that, but no, appreciate Mason and Chaos Outdoors. Go over and check them out on Facebook and all the social media platforms. We appreciate him. Saw where he shared our post today from saying that we were gonna have a show today, and so we appreciate him and his support. And speaking of support, we've got some shows set to come up with Shin Gear. So if you're a Shin Gear fan, or maybe you're not, you just want to hear about some of their products, here in about three or 4 weeks, we've got Dylan Farrell, who is the marketing director for Shin. He will be on with us here on the podcast. We'll chat with him about the upcoming Shin Film Festival coming up in October. Lots of cool stuff going to happen with that. I actually found out some more details about that today that I'll share with you later. I'll let Dylan spill the beans to everybody else, but some cool stuff I'll share with you, Garrett, later. And
Yeah.
I think it's going to be pretty cool. And then hopefully everything works out. We're going to go to the Shin headquarters for the drop date for that is middle of July. As long as Garrett's wife doesn't have a baby during that time,
It's very likely.
Hopefully we can head up there and get some new gear. That's our favorite time of the year. And see what all Shin's got going on and bring you a podcast from Memphis.
Yeah, and speaking of that, that's kind of where we started season 1 last year.
Yeah.
It was right there. It was set up with Field Norris and talked all the waders and all their new products coming out, and it'll kind of be similar to that. We're going to try to do some things different with that in season 2, but we still want to give everybody a chance to see all the new products and talk to the guys at Shin about it.
Yeah, and one thing we're gonna try to do, which is the first time I've said it in public. I know you and I have talked about it, and I actually talked to her today, so I could talk about my experience today. But multiple times, we've dealt with Morgan, who is basically over their customer service type stuff at Shin. And I called up there today. I bought some shirts, needed a different size, called them. Within 2 or 3 minutes, I had a return label in my email inbox, printed it off, took it over to UPS. Shirts are on their way. Easy peasy. And it's just, it's like we beat a dead horse. But if you deal with Shin's customer service, you will understand why we brag on it so much, because it's the real deal.
Yep. If you give them a call, you're going to get to talk to Morgan Card. And a lot of places you call, you might talk to a foreigner. You don't know who exactly you're going to get. But if you call Shin, most likely you're going to be talking to somebody, and her name is Morgan Card, and she takes phenomenal care of everybody that shops with Shin.
And I actually talked to Jessie today as well, which I assume from the email her last name is Jones. So I can only imagine that who her husband is.
Probably Jeff.
But, I don't know. We'll see.
Well, I wanted to say something real quick about Dylan too.
Okay.
So you've gotten to know Dylan a little better than I have.
A little bit. We're not BFFs or anything, but I've gotten to know him a little better than you. Yeah.
And you've alluded to that we've known for a while about this Scout Boot.
Okay.
Just so the people know, we don't have any insider info on this stuff.
No.
However, if you are on the Shin Gear forum, those guys in that forum they're stalker-ish. They follow Dylan Farrell, and they zoom in on videos, and they can pick out things that are coming. And that's how we know or have a little insight into maybe what might be coming down the road.
Yeah. And I do just want to give one correction, just so in case somebody tells Morgan that we were talking about her on this show. Her last name is Walker. It is Card Walker. I believe that may be her maiden name. So we don't want to call her out of her wrong name. You know how I guess we could just say how women they call them by the right name, and my wife doesn't want to be called by her maiden name. So
sure.
But nonetheless, everybody knows who Morgan is. She's great at what she does, and I'll just say it. Don't really care who hears it, but the customer service wouldn't be half of what it is without Morgan.
That's exactly right.
She's awesome. She's awesome. So our plan is we're going to at least invite her, so everybody knows we're going to invite her to be on the show. If she turns us down, then
she's too busy taking care of Shin customers.
That's right. Yeah. Hey, we got Texarkana Game Day tuning in here on the podcast tonight, so I'm assuming Uh, that's Morgan, but not sure. But much love to Texarkana Game Day, because without Texarkana Game Day, there would be no blind.
That's
So,
exactly right.
yeah, Texarkana Game Day helped us get this whole thing started. And we used to do our shows in their studio. And so Morgan Smith helped us get this thing off the ground. Not sure we're too far off the ground, but he helped us. He helped us at least try to get it up off the ground. So we appreciate Morgan. So Garrett, what else you got on your list for us to talk about tonight? Let me go over here and look and see what we got.
Let's do a quick recap on season one. So we talked about where we started this season,
Yeah.
and we started off at Shin Gear in Memphis. And I don't know. Do you think we ought to spill the beans on what happened with season one, episode one?
I don't know if we should or not. And Morgan, we could see your comment there. Where's my Shin blind gear? I think I did. I not bring him a Shin Cam. Did I not bring him a Shin shirt? Did
I
didn't
can
we get him?
neither I can neither confirm or deny these statements.
Cam sounds like he's driving down the highway right now. But I could have swore I brought him something. I don't know. I know I've given him something, a blind hat or something, but he probably threw it in the trash or gave it to somebody. But we'll see what we could do. We got some hats. I just don't know if you'll wear them. You'll probably make fun of them. So it
Yeah,
is
we
what
don't
it
want to
is.
waste any hats.
But I tell you what, Garrett, let's take a commercial break real quick, and then we're
All
going to
right.
come back and we're gonna hash out this season one. We're going to talk a little bit about what we've done in season one, how we're going to end season one, and then what's coming in season two. But Cam's got us a commercial geared up, and so we always want to make sure that we take time to thank our sponsors. And so we're going to take a minute to show some love to them. We'll be right back. Man, does that Shin commercial not get you pumped up?
That makes you ready for duck season, doesn't it?
It does.
Oh
I
man.
love that video by Shin, and we've got another one by Shin that's just as good or better, and I can't wait to see what they shoot us over to use for season two. But man, that's some pretty good camera work.
Dylan does a lot of that, doesn't he?
Yeah, Dylan, he likes to work that camera, so we'll
That's
get
what I
into all of
thought.
that with him whenever we get
Yeah.
him on here.
Yeah.
But you know, before let's jump into season one. But before we get way off of the scout boot, okay? Our wives, because I know your wife is watching, our wives give us a pretty hard time about Shin. You and I have a lot of Shin stuff. We don't have everything that they've come out with, but we've got 90,
Oh yeah, we're doing all
maybe
right.
95% of
We're
what
doing
they've
all
come
right.
out with. But they give us such a hard time because we've got every hat, every shirt, waders, multiple pairs of waders, jackets, all kinds of stuff. And then this scout boot comes out. And the very first thing that my wife says when I open the box is, "Those are cute. I think I need a pair. Do they come in women's size?" And I said, "No, they don't come in women's size. But if you'll tell me what size you wear in a men's shoe, I'll order you a pair." Well, she took the bait. She texts me later on. We live in the same house. I don't know why she texts me, but she texts me and told me what size in a man's shoe. So she's serious about this. She wants a pair of these Shin boots. So, guys, if you're listening, maybe get your wife a pair. Maybe that will ease the pain when you get a big box in that's got a couple hundred, maybe couple $1,000 worth of Shin stuff comes in. Get her a pair of these boots. Find
You
out what
should order
size she
them at
wears.
the same time.
Yeah,
That way
that's
when
what
the
I'm
cleaner, oh, I got you something too.
saying. Yeah, and we did not forget about y'all. We just that's the last thing we ever would think that y'all wanted. You know, when y'all do, when my wife is ordering stuff from Ulta, I don't want anything. So I don't have to ask her. She doesn't have to remember me. It's kind of the same thing with us and Shin. You know, we just don't even connect that y'all would even want something. So we apologize is what I'm getting at. We apologize. We will think before we buy new waders and see if y'all want a pair.
I'm not going to speak on the Ulta comment. I may or may not have asked for something there recently, but we won't talk about that. That's besides the point.
I can't believe you admitted that live, but okay.
I said may or may not. I mean, so it's in the air.
Well, I'm sure your wife could probably confirm if you did or not. But
I'll ask her not to do that. But I feel like it's any sane wife's job to keep us humble, keep us honest. They got to give us a little bit of a hard time.
yeah,
That's fine.
well, we'll take it,
Yeah,
and we'll take it. But look, let's jump back on track. Let's talk season 1.
yeah, so we talked about episode 1. I guess Brian doesn't want to spill the beans. Tried to give you all a little info there. He didn't take the bait, so
I'm not taking the bait.
We'll hold on to that one.
I'm not taking the bait.
Episode 2. Let's talk episode 2.
I take go back.
Okay.
We can spill the beans on what happened.
Yeah.
We can't spill the beans on. Okay, well, I didn't know what you meant.
We won't give details.
So we go to Memphis to film episode 1. Okay, we drive all the way to Memphis. How far is that?
About 4-hour drive.
About 4 hours from us. Yeah, and we go up there, and we're glad to be up there, having a great time. So we spend hours up there, and we film a good hour show. I mean, we go through all kinds of stuff. We're feeling good about it. We get back. Our producer, Cam, he's getting the show ready to go to put out the next week. And we get a phone call. I'm not going to throw him under the bus either, but we get a phone call from somebody, and they say, hey, we got a problem. There was a product that we talked about, and we decided we're not going to release it yet. And I said, oh, wow. Okay. So I called.
We can just cut that clip.
We'll just cut it out. Yeah. No big deal. I tell him, hey, not a big deal. We'll just cut that part out. No one will ever know. Well,
no one will ever know.
No one will ever know. Well, come to find out, we loved the product so much that we talked about it multiple times throughout the show. So the whole show we had to scrap it. We had to scrap it.
We had to scrap the whole thing.
And you could see the product in the whole clip.
And it was yes. Okay. And I forgot about that part. So we had products set up around us, and we had this certain product, and it wasn't the Scout Boot, but we had this certain product in the video for the whole show.
But it just wasn't ready to be released yet.
And that's perfectly fine. And so we end up getting with Field, and we say, hey, man, we can just either scrap the whole show, or we can come back and do it again. And he was like, man, I'll come to y'all. And so we were like, no, we don't want you to have to do that. Well, he had conflicting plans with us and everything. So we barely could work it out. We squeezed it in the last minute, very last minute. And we go all the way back to Memphis again, film the show again, and we put it out. Start to finish. From the very beginning, we do it again. And
take two.
And that's the first episode that you see of The Blind, which was actually not the first episode. So it's actually episode 1B is what it is.
I was going to say we're actually on episode 12 now.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It felt like for us and for Field that we had filmed 17 episodes when we were done with that.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe we're still welcome there.
I hope so.
As long as we guarantee them we will only do it once this time.
Well, what we ought to do is just do it live. And so
no take backs.
If we mess something up, there's no take backs. No
No
take backs. We can't
Yeah.
do anything about it. It's live. It's
over.
out there. It's
It's
done.
out there. Yep.
But all joking
So that
aside,
was episode 1.
we love those guys at Shen. They do such a great job, and we love them a little bit more because they're so good to us. We appreciate their support because we're nobody. I mean, they're somebody, and we're
Right.
nobody. And
Right.
they help us out. They're a part of it. Um,
Well,
and
that's another reason why there was no way we were allowing Field to come to Texarkana.
that's right. That's
We're
right.
coming to you, buddy.
We really like Field and talk to him on a regular basis. But we still appreciate him way more than they'll ever appreciate us. I mean, because
Oh, yeah.
I mean they're our guys.
Yeah, they're awesome.
So
They've been really good to us. Well, let's move on. Let's move on to episode 2. So we had Cade's Kids with Mark Pickard.
yeah,
And then we had Todd Ezai with Rixie Dog Stands. And Cade's Kids, man, they just continue to do what they do.
yeah.
They put on a full display at the steak cook-off. So
I
Brian
know.
and I this weekend, anybody familiar with Magnolia Blossom Festival? We were there this weekend. We were set up.
World Championship Steak Cook-Off.
That's right. That's right. Cade's Kids was there, and they outperformed us by a little bit.
To say the least. They won something in the parade category, which Garrett and I were not very good parade participants. We rode the whole parade with the windows up.
And we people watched.
We people watched and talked about who we were seeing out there. Not in a bad way.
No.
We're good Christians. We weren't hating on anybody, but we were people watching and we were, laughing and
having a good time,
in a
but
good
to
way.
ourselves.
In a good way. Yeah.
Yeah.
And but yes, Cade's Kids, a great foundation. If you don't know what that is, go over on Facebook and look them up. Cade's Kids, Kades, Cade's Kids Foundation. A friend of ours, a guy we've known our whole life, tragically passed away during COVID. A young guy, and so he was a very avid hunter, and he loved kids. Didn't have any kids of his own. His life was, cut short before he could do that, and so some of his very best friends and family have started a foundation in his name, and they raise money, give away hunts, they do scholarships, they do all kinds of stuff, and they participate in the Magnolia Blossom Festival and World Championship Steak Cook-Off, and they have a float in it, so they participate in that part, and they participate in the Steak Cook-Off, and they beat us in both of them.
They did, but it's nice to be associated with something like that. That's getting kids outside and get kids outdoors and letting them enjoy what we enjoy.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll get Mark on again in season 2 and let them tell us what's going on with Cade's Kids and what's to come and maybe some stuff that we can help out with. And so, but let's move on to the second part of episode 2, which was Rixie dog stands.
Yeah, so the Rixie Dog Stand, that's a product, and Todd Ezai, the owner of that company. But his product, man, it's just something that we got to use this last season, and it's been really, really handy. It fits small. That's the thing I like most about it. It fits so small and compact. You can put it in your backpack. You can put it in your gun box. It doesn't take up a lot of space. It's easy to put on a tree, fold up. Your dog's stable on it. It does all the things you need a dog stand to do.
Right. Yep. It sure does. And it, like you said, it's built well. It's not flimsy. It's built well. It's an Arkansas product, so we love it even more. Todd's up in central Arkansas, up around the Bryant, Little Rock area, somewhere up in that area, North Little Rock maybe. And of course, it makes it even better that it's a Arkansas product, but he makes a good product. Like you said, we can tie it up or strap it up, and throw it in the gun box, like you said, or in the back of the truck or whatever. And it's not like some of the other bulkier ones that take up so much room or they're always in the way. So, and they're easy up, like you said. I mean, it's easy. Undo the straps, put it up. I mean, boom, 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 you're done.
There's very few breakable components, it seems like, too.
Yeah.
There's not a bunch of little pins and things you got to keep up with and something you can drop in the water and lose it. Nope, I can't use my dog stand today.
Yeah.
It's a good product.
Yeah, and I like it because it doesn't. A lot of your older tree stands that we're used to, you've got to have a decent sized tree to put this on. Well, you and I hunt a lot of places that have willow trees, and willow
Yeah.
trees are not typically very big. And so we can put those on just about anything.
Yeah.
When we met him at the Delta Expo last year, he was actually demonstrating how you could put it on a cypress knee that was only
Mhm.
about 12 inches, and you could put it on that. And so, really good product. Look forward to having Todd on and talking with him again, see what kind of new stuff he's got coming out. So go over and check out the Rixie dog stands.
Right. Let's move on. So episode 3, we had Keith Hammer and Jason Pironi.
Yeah.
Of Stratton Seed Company.
Yeah.
Stratton Seed Company. If y'all haven't checked out their website, you need to get over there.
Yeah.
You need to go over. They got tons of products. They have a specific spot on their website, which is Stratton Hunt. You just put in gostrattonseed.com and click on the top, Stratton Hunt, and you can see all of their deer hunting blends, their duck hunting blends. That's something I was talking to Brian about. I want to try something a little different this year, and I want to try to plant up a few little small ponds with some of Stratton's blends and see if I can't get a couple good hunts off a couple of small ponds around the house.
Yeah, and so I mean they do a little bit of everything. Whether you're planting,
Yeah.
whether you're planting for crops, or you're planning to hunt, or you're planting even for concealment, they've got products that you can plant around your deer stands or your duck blinds or whatever for concealment. So that they've got a little bit of everything. So make sure you go over and check them out. We appreciate Keith and them for being a sponsor. You can see it right. Let's see. I got to go the other way. There it is, right down there.
That Hunt Stratton Seed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything's backwards, but yeah, that's their new logo. Actually, that's their new logo for Stratton Seed.
And now's the time of the year when you need to be on their website and you need to order what you need. You need to get all your stuff planted. I was kind of looking through the dates and all that stuff for where we're at. It looks like a lot of the duck hunting blends and all, you'd want to get them in the ground by July, sometime in July, early August.
Yeah.
So if you're needing seed, now's the time.
Yeah, and so the not just planting stuff to grow, but they also make corn blends and minerals and all kinds of different feeds for deer and stuff like that. So I got to test out and try the Rack Attack and their corn and soybean mix this last year. And so a lot of really good stuff. Go check them out at, is it gostrattonseed.com?
Gostrattonseed.com.
Yeah. Gostrattonseed.com. Go check them out.
Yeah. And then we also had a local guy, Lane Peoples.
Yeah.
We had a good time talking to Lane Peoples from Baits and Blades, another sponsor.
Man, we like Baits and Blades.
We
like Baits and Blades, and we really love Lane Peoples.
Love Lane Peoples.
If you don't know Lane Peoples, you are missing out. We're going to have him on the show here soon. He's a hard guy to track down, so I hope he watches this. But man, he's just a great guy. He's a really good guy. He really is. If you know him,
it doesn't take long talking to him.
He's a great guy.
You just kind of get that feel. It's like one of those people that you feel like you've known forever.
Yeah.
Even when you first talk to him.
And he's funny.
He's great.
He's real funny. He's real funny. And speaking of his place here in Texarkana, whether you're here or you're around the area, you need to go check out Lane, because I'm not a huge fisherman. I tell Garrett all the time, I like my fish fried, not on the end of a hook. And but Lane, from what I hear from really big fishermen, is that his place has stuff nowhere else has. Like, he is the place, not just for Texarkana, but for this region. There are people that will come from miles away to pick up stuff at his store. So with fishing season upon us, go over there and check out all of his fish and tackle stuff.
Yes. So let's move on. So episode 4, we had a great guest in Rod Haydale, Haydale's Game Calls.
Oh,
we
man.
had a really great time talking to Rod. Just the man, the level of knowledge that that guy has on calling ducks, building duck calls, the intricacies, the things that we would never know about a duck call that goes into making them,
Yeah.
building a company that just does duck calls, which he does a whole line of different things, but started at duck calls. And we had a really good time talking to Rod Haydale. If you haven't gone back and watched any of that, you need to go back and watch episode 4 with Rod Haydale.
Yeah. And, Rod Haydale was just so I don't want to get off too much off topic, but, um, there's people that start hunting at different stages of their life, right? You got some people that grow up and, like your dad, he always deer hunted and stuff, but he didn't duck hunt. So you didn't start duck hunting at a real young age.
Right.
My dad did. So I started at a real young age. And what I was getting at is from that young age, I can remember the name Haydale because being where we're located in South Arkansas, we're not far from North Louisiana, where Haydale Game Calls is located, and also not far from where Phil Robertson and Duck Commander, are located.
Right.
So those two names
Yeah.
in the duck calling world in this region when I was growing up were
Those
big
were the
names.
guys.
My dad blew one of the original Duck Commander calls that was made out of wood before acrylic was a thing, that he got in the 80s when nobody knew who Phil Robertson was. And it was one of the original Duck Commander calls. And he still got it to this day, and it still blows just fine. But Haydale's, the very first call that I ever learned how to blow was a Haydale call. And I didn't really learn how to blow it very good at this time, but I was about 6 years old. That was the first duck call that was ever put in my hand. So that's why that episode's, real special to me, is because, Garrett, and anybody that's ever hunted with me, how much I love a DR85. And I don't care who has an opinion on it. I don't need or want a $200 call. And I don't mean that in a bragging way, but we've killed plenty of ducks with me blowing a DR85.
Yeah.
You don't, and I'm not saying we're
It's
not
all
going to
about-
get
it's-
into that
No,
right
it's
now.
just all about
but
finding the right fit
That's
for
right.
you and what fits you as a duck caller and what puts ducks in the decoys. It doesn't matter if it costs $5 or $300.
Yep.
If it works, it works.
And that's another subject for us to get off in. Make a note of that, of a mental note for another episode. But that was probably one of my favorite episodes for sure, just because of who we had on there and how much back to my childhood that he played a part of.
Oh yeah, that was a special episode. And then our next one's a really good one too. So episode 5, we had Christian Frierson. Man, we were stacking up the good ones there with Rod Haydale and then Christian. Man, we went to Christian's camp. We sat down with him in Garland at his duck camp.
Louisville to be exact.
Louisville, Garland, close enough.
Well, he'll tell you. He'll correct.
I guess it depends on what side of the river you're on.
That's right.
Okay.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
But nonetheless,
Christian was gracious to us. Let us come in, sit down with him at his camp and talk duck hunting, talk the designated puller, his automatic jerk rig. It's a great product we've gotten to use throughout this last season. I look forward to continuing to use. Number one, because it works. But yeah, what you got to say about Christian? There's so many.
If I might add, that was a very fine looking episode, if I do say so myself.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah,
Cam's coming in hot.
He is.
Cam, I hope he has us sounding better than what he sounds. Golly.
Is that just on my head? He sounds like he's got his head in a Dorito bag.
Is that just was that a fat joke?
I don't have my good microphone hooked up. I'm doing this on my AirPods, so it's a little tragic.
That's not nice what Garrett said. I'm gonna take up for you.
There was no ill intent in that.
I just don't have my soundboard hooked up tonight. Just know that next time.
Garrett
sounds better now.
You gonna make
better now.
You gonna make Garrett sound like that next time? Okay, he's out. He's out. But Christian, that's my guy. I love Christian Frierson. I talk to him, sometimes multiple times a week. He says that I am the overlooker of his farm over there because, of course, I drive an hour to and from work every day, and I can see ducks either flying over his place or going down on his place, or even some stuff that's out by the highway. And so I call or text him almost every day, and we talk about ducks.
Well, you've been overseeing his property before you even knew him.
Yeah, I've been overseeing his property for a long time.
That's right. That's right.
No, Christian's just a great guy. Even though he's from Louisiana, we still like him. And his Christian's okay, but his dad's the real great guy. But no, I'm just messing around. But Christian's a great guy, and just that whole crew that he's got over there, a bunch of his family and stuff, and just his place, what they've built over there, is just
it's a dream.
It's cool. And when you think about the place that he's built and how he's done it, a lot of people, if you didn't watch the episode, you just really don't know, because there's a lot of people that go out and buy these turnkey places, and they go in there and they start killing ducks. And I mean, they were killing zero.
It took them years.
This was not a turnkey place, and they have built it into something, and I'm proud of them. And I'm proud that we get to go over there and hunt. And I hope that we get invited back a lot
We're
of
good
time.
Luck. We're good luck.
Apparently.
Yeah.
But speaking of Christian and his product, go over there and check them out. Perfect Limit Outdoors and his product, the Designated Puller. I'll be honest with you, and I've told Christian this, so this is nothing that he's going to hear for the first time, but I was skeptical. I mean, it's just like anything that's motorized in the duck hunting industry now. I mean, you're like, well, I mean, does it really work? There's all kinds of stuff out there, but it works.
It's the real deal.
It works. I mean,
it really does.
It's practical. It's not. He didn't try to recreate the wheel.
Right.
He took the wheel and just pumped it up with air. I mean, it's the perfect product. And when you think about something like that, you think, well, is it difficult to put together and assemble or use, or do you have problems out of it or what? Once we figured out how to use it.
It did take a little bit.
It
took me probably 3 times setting it up to get it to where I know.
But it's just like anything. Just like anything. There's nothing against the product at all. But once we figured out how to use it, we could throw it together in 5 minutes, and it was the best tool that we had. And you're living proof. Does it help you kill ducks?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just the age-old conversation I feel like people have been having for the last 5, maybe even 10 years is, well, do we put out a mojo or do we not? And then we put it out, and we take it down, we do all that stuff. And then finally me and Brian are sitting in the blind. We're like, do I got a jerk string? Let's put a jerk string out. You put it out, and here they're coming the decoys. Just go back to the basics. And he went back to the basics and made it better.
That's right. Look, let's take a short break real quick, Garrett. Let's show some love to our sponsors. We're going to come back. We're going to talk some more episodes, and then we're going to have, I don't know, we want to still call it the final flight. We'll kind of have some final thoughts for you before we get off of here, but we're going to come back. We'll talk some more episodes right after this. Welcome back to the blind. We see our man Mason Norman is tuning in down there with Chaos Outdoors, like we talked about just a few minutes ago. We appreciate him for tuning in. Got my turkey track hat on tonight from Chaos Outdoors. Go over there and find them on Facebook like I did, and he's got some really cool hats. I'm sure he's got other stuff as well, but I didn't want to spend all my money. But got some cool hats. Love the hat, by the way, Mason. Appreciate you, buddy. Wish you much success. You ready to move on?
Let's move on. Yeah.
All right.
So
What
let's.
episode we at? 7?
So we're at episode 6.
Episode 6. All right,
So
let's go.
episode 6, we spent Christmas with Apex.
Yeah.
Jared Lewis we had on, and then we also had Jay Peterson of Dirty Duck.
Yeah, and speaking of Apex Ammunition, we'll have Kyle Jones, their marketing guy, and a really good caller, duck caller, goose caller. I don't know what all he does. He does a little bit of everything, but he is really good at what he does for Apex, the marketing side of it, and he is our guy. He takes care of us. Apex Ammunition takes care of us, and man, we appreciate them. And their stuff is for real.
Oh man,
their stuff is for real.
Their shells have been, and it. I know they do their duck hunting loads. They do steel shot. They do turkey loads.
Yeah,
all of it. All
right.
of it's been phenomenal.
Yeah, and look, let me say this before we move on to Dirty Duck, but we talk a lot about our sponsors of the show, right?
Right.
But the reason why we didn't just, regardless of what people think, we didn't just go out and say, hey, anybody in the outdoor industry, will you be a sponsor of our show and help us out? We didn't just do that. We didn't just go out and beg for anybody and everybody. We went to specific brands that we wanted to target. And because we used their products, we believed in their products, and we wanted to be associated and wanted them to be associated with our brand because we felt like it fit together.
Right.
Right. And Apex is one of those brands. Nothing against other shotgun shell companies or ammo companies. You and I have shot different brands for as long as we've hunted. This is our first year to shoot Apex, but we knew who they were. We knew the people behind the scenes, and we knew that they were the kind of company we wanted to be a part of. So just given that little bit of background, that's why we talk about these sponsors so highly, is because we truly believe in their products and the people behind the products.
Right. Right. Yeah. That is something about Apex is, and just like you said, we didn't try to get everybody out there to come be a part of this show, and finding the right people. We don't have to try to sell their products. That's not what we're here to do. We're here to share their products with other people and just show you just how good they are.
Yeah. And I mean, from the S3 steel to the blended load for waterfowl this year to their tungsten to everything. I mean, it's awesome stuff. And then on top of that, we didn't just have them. We had Dirty Duck with us as well on the same episode.
I'm not going to pour it out again this time.
He doesn't have anything in his cup, but Dirty Duck, the official coffee of the blind, man, we appreciate them.
And they don't just do coffee. They do really cool hats and hoodies, and
they got some swag.
Yeah, they got
some swag. I may be getting too old to use that word, but Dirty Duck has got some swag. And like I said, they are the official coffee company of the blind. We love their coffee. They just came out and dropped a brand new iced coffee, or cold brew, I guess would be the exact words for it. And I drink a lot of coffee, but I'm definitely not a coffee connoisseur. I'm a huge coffee consumer, but yeah, I don't know all the ins and outs about it. I've heard about it, I've read about it a little bit, but they just came out with a brand new cold brew. So go over and check them out, dirtyduckcoffee.com. They got cups, they got mugs, they got coffee, even got some in the mail last week with a hat and a decal. And I'm going to have to get on Jay Peterson whenever I talk to him, but he sent me some more coffee. They always keep us with coffee. And he sent me coffee beans this time.
And you have no clue what to do with them.
I ain't fancy enough. I don't have one of those machines that grind the beans up and everything. I need the coffee grounds or a pod. Okay. Need the pod. So, but I got them. We're going to figure it out. We may have to crush them up.
To hand grind them.
Crush them up with a coffee cup, but we appreciate Jay and them for, sending us the coffee over and always keeping us refreshed and entertained. They're very entertaining people. Go over and check them out, dirtyduckcoffee.com.
So episode 7, we had Zach Randall with Reaper Boats. Reaper
Yeah.
Boats. They're newer. They're newer on the scene. I feel like there's several other boat makers out there, but Zach, man, they looks like they're really taking their time and trying to do this thing right.
Yeah. So Zach's a character. We really like Zach. He knows some of the same guys that I do in the just duck hunting. We've got some mutual friends, and I actually reached out to some of them to hook us up with Zach because he's got a newer brand out there, and they are they're killing it, man. Zach
Yeah,
is
they're doing
building some.
really good work.
He's building some really good boats and always taking it to the next level. And so I expect big things out of Reaper Boats. Love to have him on again this year and just kind of get an update on what they're doing.
Yeah, cool company. We on episode 8 we had Field Norris, which we've talked a lot about. Field,
Yeah.
we've already talked about Shen. We had to have him on again just because we love him so much. But we also had Gardner Lyle and Lyle Real Estate. This is where we're at. We're at the Lyle Real Estate studio, and man, those guys, they've got it going on. They got some really nice properties. This time of year, again, this is the time of year if you're looking for a duck hunting property. You need to look up Lyle Real Estate, and you need to check out all the properties they've got on their website. But they've got it's lylerealestate.com. They've got some really nice properties, but they're going fast. I was looking at their website yesterday, and it was sold. So if you hadn't checked them out, you better get on it quick.
Yeah. And so, of course, Lyle Real Estate, is a sponsor of our studio each and every week. But you think, why a real estate company or a brand? Well, here's why. Because they sell hunting property, and they don't just sell any hunting property. They're not taking some podunk piece of junk property out there. And I mean that with all due respect to whoever's got some crappy land out there, but they've got really nice properties. They go out, they want the good stuff to sell and bring to people. And they're experts on it. They've been doing it for a lot of years. This is the 30th anniversary or something for them, 40th something that they're celebrating this year. I mean, they've been around forever and selling quality properties, but they're knowledgeable about all of it. They're hunters. They know what they're talking about. They're not just trying to sell you a piece of land to make some commission off of it. They are really pushing good products, and we love those guys. Gardner Lyle, Gar Lyle, Brandon Stafford. We love all those people over there at Lyle Real Estate, and we appreciate them.
Yeah, the thing about Gardner and his dad is, I guess it's Gardner and Gar.
Yeah.
Is they're kind of the same kind of guys. When you talk to them, you kind of feel like you've known them forever. And they're not giving you some high sales pitch. Then they're putting a bunch of pressure on you to try to get you to make a move and do something. I mean, we've talked to them a couple of times, and both times we've talked to them, and they just want to help you find what you're looking for.
Yeah. And they've got a really cool story about how Gar started the company and started with his first piece of land and all that kind of stuff. So that's really cool story. But, speaking of field that we had on this episode before them, the first time we talked with him, it was more about Chene products and stuff like that. This time we talked hunting with him. So if you want to get a little deeper into who Field Norris is and his hunting, we did a little bit more of that on this episode. So, but cool episode.
So that was kind of the end of our first mini season, I guess you could say, in the fall. And then we plan to come back in the spring. We've had 3 episodes so far. We had our spring preview show.
Yeah.
We had this last week. We had Hayden Richard. I was out last week. My daughter had a choir concert that they were putting on. She'd been preparing for all year, so I wasn't missing that for this. And so I was out last week, but Brian got to talk to Hayden Richard.
Yeah, cool guy. And, like you said before, we just so what we did on this so-called spring preview is we just wanted to come on here because, of course, you can see we've got a different setup now. It's more practical. We can do it from anywhere. We can have anybody on with us from anywhere around the world. We send them a link. They pop in our studio. We pop them on the screen. I know we're going to be on vacations here and there. I mean, we can do the show from anywhere. So that's what our spring preview was basically testing out this new platform, see what it looks like, see what adjustments we want to make and how to improve on it. And that's something that we're doing over these next couple episodes leading to the end of season 1. We want to make sure that we make this the best product we can before we hit season 2, because we really want to hit season 2 with a bang.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've got some great guests lined up, but we can't wait to bring them to you. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. That was the other thing we were trying to get set up in the podcast platforms and get that going and make sure all the kinks were worked out and everything was working correctly. And so far, it hadn't been that hard. I know Cam's the one probably putting in all the effort behind it.
Yeah, it ain't that hard. Yeah,
because
we don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then you talked about Hayden Richard. That I mean, he's world champion duck caller. I mean, he's got all kinds of titles. Just a cool guy down in Louisiana. We're actually going to get with him and see about maybe getting a teal hunt this year together. So
yeah, that'd be funny. Seems like he'd be a fun guy to hunt with.
Yeah, he says they've got lots of teal down there, and he'll keep the snakes and the gators away. So I say we do it.
Have you ever hunted with a Cajun?
I have not, but I mean, it's I feel like he would protect me.
There's something a little different about hunting down there.
Yeah,
it's just a little different feel.
Yeah, I bet it is. I bet it is. Yeah. Well,
let's get alligators at your feet.
That's right. That's right. And then we move to tonight.
Here we are.
We just wanted to come give you a recap of season 1 and kind of tell you what to expect coming down the line. So we got a really cool guest coming on next week. A really, really, really cool guest coming on next week. And so, of course, this may be controversial, but we support all brands that are trying to help the outdoor industry. All of them. So whether you're Delta Waterfowl, DU, we've been to Christian Waterfowler Association stuff. I mean, there's Deer Unlimited. There's all kinds of stuff out there. But we next week we're going to have a Brad Heidel on with us. And I hope that's how I say his name. I've talked to him on the phone before, but I never really asked him how to say his last name. But I think it's Heidel. And he is the senior marketing guy for Delta Waterfowl. Not just our region, but for the whole organization of Delta Waterfowl. And so we're going to have the top marketing guy on here with us. And
that'll be a great conversation.
Yeah, senior
There's
director.
So many different things we could probably talk to that guy about. I mean, Delta, they're everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean,
yeah. So nationwide.
I don't know how many states. Are they in all 50 states? I mean, they're out there.
I would assume, but I don't know. But
we'll find out next week.
What we're going to talk to him about, one of the big things we're going to talk to him about is the Delta Waterfowlers Expo, or Delta Duck Hunters Expo. I think I can't remember how they word it, but
yeah,
it's their Waterfowl Expo that they did last year in Little Rock, Arkansas, not far from us. And they decided that it was such a great turnout, they were going to do it a second year in Little Rock, Arkansas, and hopefully going to be able to make it to that this year to bring you some coverage on our podcast and just to see everybody there. But we're going to talk about the expo with them. We're going to talk about what's going on in the Delta world, and then we're going to talk about they have got the $1 Million Duck campaign. And not going to get too much into that right now, but we are going to talk about that with him. And I've got a link here. I'm not going to click on it because I don't want the video to start playing. But we're going to talk about that campaign that they've got going.
Yeah,
they're doing great stuff for duck hunters, for the ducks as well, and that's what it's all about. We've got to put forth some effort.
They're a 24/7, 365 ducks every day.
That's
all
right.
They do. So yeah, he'll be really, really interesting to talk to. We'll go out with a bang on season 1 next week.
Yep.
And then we're going to jump into season 2.
Yep. So season 1 finale next week. You don't want to miss it. Senior director of marketing for Delta Waterfowl will be on with us. And then we're going to end season 1. Then season 2, we're going to kick off season 2 with Dylan Farrell from Shin Gear. And then we've got a couple other guests that we're not quite ready yet to put out there. We do have them lined up, and we're going to talk some. We're going to talk some Cache River Farms. We're going to talk some public land duck hunting. We're going to talk some. We'll maybe talk some Razorback basketball, Arkansas Razorback basketball.
Yeah.
We're going to talk a little. Help me out. Who's some of? We're going to talk some duck calls.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
You put me on the spot.
Duck blinds. We're going to talk with some. We're going to talk about some duck blinds. We got a list as long
There's
as
a
my
long
arm.
list.
That's a good thing though, that we have that list. But we've got a list as long as my arm. So what I'm saying is, go follow us on all of our platforms: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Follow us, YouTube, where you can keep it, because we're about to bring you some good episodes. We wanted to pump it up a notch for season 2, and that's exactly what we're doing. We're spending the time to try to bring you the best episodes that we could possibly bring you, and we have assembled a list of guests that we think is going to do that. And
we're going to be able to get a lot of people that couldn't come to Texarkana.
That's right.
That's one of the benefits of doing it the way that we're doing it now, is we can get people that we might not have been able to get in season 1 to come all the way to Texarkana, come sit with us on a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Appreciative to all our guys from season 1 that did that. But that's just not feasible for everybody with families and kids and jobs. And so it's going to allow us, hopefully, to take it up a notch.
Yep. Well, I tell you what, let's take our last commercial break of the night, and then we're going to come back with the final flight, which will be our last little segment. We'll go for just a couple minutes. We'll finish up the show, and then we'll get ready to come back to you next week with the season 1 finale. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to The Blind, Season 1, Episode 11. We're going to wrap things up with something we're calling the Blind Final Flight, brought to you by Stratton Seed Company. They've got a mix called the Final Flight, and so we thought it was appropriate to give kudos to Stratton Seed for this little segment. And we just want to leave you with a few final thoughts from the blind. So as hunters, it's pretty easy for us to get caught up in killing a limit of ducks, killing a big gobbler, killing a big trophy buck. But man, it's just important don't forget to slow down, enjoy the moment, take in God's creation, how fortunate we are to enjoy the outdoors. And just that's kind of the final flight. Enjoy the outdoors.
I don't know if you can say more than that.
Don't forget to just slow down and take it all in sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes we get, like you said, so caught up in it's all about the kill. It's all about the harvest. And it is a lot about that. It that's a subject or a topic for another day. Let's get into pictures. But
yeah,
sometimes, and it's just life. It's not just hunting, but we do that with just about everything. And sometimes we just need to slow down and remember that, just like you said, if we don't take it in, man, the older we get, time's flying by. And if we don't take it in, it's going to be gone in a flash. And as you know, Garrett, and I know in our, 34, 35 years of living so far, things are changing every day. And if you don't take it in, you're going to blink and it's going to be different tomorrow. So
it goes by in a hurry.
Well, we appreciate Brother Garrett there bringing us the sermon here on the final flight. And so, Cam, you got anything before we go, buddy?
Just some bad audio. That's all I got.
Just some bad audio. Well, look, Cam, we appreciate it. Go over and follow Cam, Killer Cam, on Instagram. Man, the guy is killer. We couldn't make this happen without him. So we want to make sure that everyone knows, and he knows just how much we appreciate him, because the blind doesn't happen without Cam. And that is Killer Cam, KILLRCAM. And I believe that's correct. If it's not,
he kills it every week.
Look it up. But he does. He kills it every week. And that guy is our player of the game. And so
MVP.
That's right. Well, look, we appreciate you tuning in for another episode of The Blind. Please go over. We can't tell you how important it is that you go and follow and like us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Go over to YouTube and subscribe. But also, this is what we're asking. All of those things are important, but go over to Spotify or Apple Podcast, whichever you choose to listen to your podcast on, and go over and subscribe to our channel, to our podcast, and hit the little bell. That little bell that you hit, it's going to notify you whenever a new episode comes out. Okay, and we're shooting to bring you one every week because we got some good guests we want you to hear from. But please go over and follow us on social media. But please help us get our new podcast sites up off the ground and going. Go subscribe to them and hit the little bell so it will notify you whenever a new podcast becomes available. And then after you listen to one or two or three or all of them, rate us. Give us a 5-star rating. We really appreciate that. And it'll help us out more than you know. Garrett, you got anything else before we go?
I think we can wrap it up. From Brian Bolt, Garrett Camp, thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you next week right back here in The Blind.
Peace.